Today I'll be revealing my 7 different streams of income that I've built up by age 29. These income streams work out to be in excess of £10,000 a month and range from being active to semi-passive income. I certainly didn't switch on all 7 streams overnight, it all took time to achieve, but with some hard work and determination, I'm sure all of you guys can gain multiple streams of income too. Now, I started my working life as a pot washer, earning £3.64 an hour at age 16, before then getting a job at my local McDonald's. However, after graduating from university, I got a job in banking and those income prospects looked a little bit better. Now, it was whilst I was at this 9 to 5 job that I learned about the importance of having multiple different streams of income, which led me down the path of earning income that was a little bit more passive. I always had the aspirations to make money online and potentially start my own business one day, but to be fair, when I first graduated university, I was definitely of the mindset that I would just climb my way up the corporate ladder, earn a decent salary, and that would kind of be my path to generating a decent amount of money. This is one of the 7 different streams of income called active income, which all of us working people have, but there are a few downsides to it. Firstly, I was selling 35 hours of my week in return for a single income, so I had absolutely no time freedom whatsoever. Secondly, it wasn't scalable. I was salaried, so I couldn't exactly work more hours in return for more money. And thirdly, I was solely reliant on one single source of income. It meant that if I got made redundant because of a restructure that happened, and I did dodge a couple of those during my time, I'd be in real financial trouble. So I began to build out my other income streams, and I've kind of found that the more income streams I have, the kind of higher level of financial security, I guess I could say, that I feel like I have. So let me share with you what each of those income streams are, how I got them, and what the benefits of each of them are too. The first source of income that I have is dividend income. Now, it's certainly not the biggest slice of the income pie, but it's a tax-free one, so let me explain. The types of dividends that I'm referring to in this context are the profits that are distributed to shareholders of publicly listed companies or exchange-traded funds, which are usually distributed on a quarterly basis. And these are the investments that I've made personally in my stocks and shares ISA account, which is a tax-free investment account. Now, on the passive income spectrum, dividends are right up there in terms of being passive. It's almost like owning a fruit tree, which you didn't have to plant or maintain, yet each season the tree produces fruit which you can pick and enjoy, without having to do any of the work. Now, you may be wondering, well, how much money can you actually make from dividends? And well, there's a couple of different metrics that you should know about. The first metric being a dividend yield, which is the percentage of the stock price paid as dividends on an annual basis. The higher this number is, the more you're paid per share that you own within that investment. However, the one thing to be cautious about here is if that dividend yield is really high, then it shows that the company are choosing to pay more of their profits out towards their shareholders as opposed to reinvesting those profits back into the business for future potential growth. So these publicly listed companies do have a little bit of a balancing act to play, where they're trying to keep their shareholders happy, but also they're trying to kind of still maintain the growth within the business. The other metric to be aware of is the dividend per share. This is the actual amount that you will be paid per share in the company that you own. So obviously, the more shares that you own and the higher the dividend per share, the more dividend income you'll make. So let me give you an example over on the Trading212 app, which is the app that I use to make most of my investments. I'm going to go into the UK's biggest, because the UK stock market, UK stocks are typically well known for paying dividends. And I'm going to click into BP because I know they do pay a dividend. And then I'm going to scroll down to some of the key financial metrics and stats, and you can see that they have a dividend yield currently of 6.57%. So let's just say hypothetically I had £1,000 invested in BP stock. If I multiply that number by the dividend yield, you'd get a dividend of £65.70 per year. And as BP pay dividends on a quarterly basis, so 4 times a year, you'd get the equivalent of about £16.50 per quarter. So it's certainly not huge, and you would need a substantial amount of value within your investment portfolio in order to drive a significant amount of dividend income from that portfolio. And if you are interested in getting started on Trading212, I'll share a little bit more about that in just a moment's time. With dividends though, it's also worthwhile bearing in mind that dividends aren't guaranteed. They may increase, decrease, or they may stop completely altogether depending on if the company's performance takes a turn for the worst. Which is why I don't pin all of my income on one single investment or one single asset class, which leads me quite nicely onto the second type of income stream that I have. Now, rental income can be sourced in a couple of different ways, but the way in which I source my rental income is from physical investment properties. Now, you can do this by buying either a residential or commercial property and then look at something called the rental yield. The rental yield is the amount you invest divided by the annual cash flow generated, where essentially similar to a dividend yield, the higher the rental yield, the better. On the residential side, which is actually one of my newest sources of income, which I started in mid-2023, where I bought my first buy-to-let investment property, which was a one-bed flat, which is currently being rented out for £895 per calendar month. Now, full transparency, owning physical property for me, and then obviously getting the rental income as a byproduct, is only as a result of this YouTube channel, because what I do is I take the profits, or most of the profits from this YouTube channel, and then I reinvest them into a separate business that allows me to buy the buy-to-let properties. So essentially, I'm using the profit and the earnings from one business to drive new earnings in another business, making sure that money stays productive. My plan is to hopefully buy another investment property in 2025 to continue to increase this kind of side of my rental income that I'm looking to achieve. But another reason why I like rental income from property is because it's fairly passive too. To begin with the flat, it was just some light cosmetic renovations, which only took me a couple of days. But since then, I've had a management agent managing the tenant, and it's been pretty hands-off for me ever since. The only downside to this is that that's not always the case when it comes to investment property. But the other downside is that it's hugely capital intensive. For me, in order to buy my first property, again, full transparency, I invested £36,650 in order to cover the deposit, the solicitors, the mortgage costs, the estate agent fees, and kind of all that other stuff. And obviously, there's always the stress of renting a property out, and then perhaps the tenant decides that they don't want to pay rent that month. So it can potentially be a bit of a stressful business model, which is obviously one that you'll need to assess whether it's suitable for you or not. However, there is another option if that's not for you, and that's through something called a real estate investment trust, which is a company that owns, operates, or finances income-generated real estate. It basically allows investors to invest into property without having to physically own the thing or manage it. It's just like owning a publicly listed company where you're paid a dividend for owning a share or a few shares within that company. But be sure to do your own research on that so you know all of the risks involved, but it is another option to generate income from property should it be something that you're interested in. This is when a company will reach out to me via email to see if I will promote a product or a service that they're offering within a video on my YouTube channel. Now, don't get me wrong, I turn away pretty much 99% of all sponsorships that ever hit my inbox. I've gone back to a couple of very well-known companies in the last week or so to politely decline their offers, and many companies that reach out to me are just absolutely miles off the mark anyway, and I wouldn't even consider them, let alone reply to their emails. I've likely left in excess of maybe 6 figures on the table from sponsorship deals that I've not looked to pursue, but there's a very good reason for that. Warren Buffett once said, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. So I definitely will not be promoting any old business, regardless of how much money is put in front of me. And if you are a creator or if you're thinking about becoming one, I suggest that you should probably take a similar approach too. Whilst obviously need to pay my bills, and YouTube obviously generates me most of the income that I'm able to obtain, my reputation and my integrity are massively important to me. And that's why I will never ever promote a brand that isn't authentic to me and isn't a brand that I don't completely trust. But one company that I do completely trust, and one company that is authentic to me because I use them for all of my investments, is today's video sponsor, which is Trading 212. Trading 212 are a commission-free investing platform that allows you to invest in over 13,000 global stocks and ETFs so you can build out your own investment portfolio. You can do this by selecting your own investments from the research that you've done, or you can select a ready-made portfolio using their pies feature, either copying one of their model pies or even one of their community pies, depending on what your preferences are. It'll also show you the future performance of those investments too, but also do be mindful that past performance isn't always indicative of future results. Now, to help you guys get started, Trading 212 are offering all of my subscribers one free share valued up to £100 when you click on the link down in the description below and open an account and deposit £1. Or alternatively, if you have opened a Trading 212 account in the past 10 days, you can also enter the promo code Mitch and you'll still qualify for that one free share. Thanks to Trading 212 for sponsoring this video, which also leads me quite nicely on to my next income stream. And the way affiliate income works is if I introduce you to a product or a service and you sign up for that, or you buy that product or service, then I get paid a small commission. It's just like the Trading 212 promo code that I've shared with you in today's video. If you guys sign up for Trading 212, I'll also get a small commission as well, which obviously massively helps out the channel. But the reason why I like this model so much is because it creates a win-win situation. It's a win for you guys because you get a free share valued up to £100, but it's also a win for me because I also get paid a small commission too. And now this type of income does have the potential to be really passive. I can make a video once, and as long as that video hits the algorithm and people keep watching it, I can potentially still earn affiliate income from it, even though that video might be 12 months old. The Martin Lewis Money Saving Expert business model is a fantastic example of affiliate marketing, but just at a huge scale. In this article on their website where it says how this site is financed, it states companies cannot pay to appear on the site. Guides are written purely from a what's the best way to save money stance. Once the guides are finished, it's the commercials team's job to see if they can find affiliate links to the top products. These look and work in the same way as normal links, but if someone clicks through, the link is tracked and may generate a payment to the site. The details vary. Sometimes the payments per click, per user, per application, per accepted application, or a combination. Now, this business model is so powerful that the personal finance OG Martin Lewis actually sold Money Saving Expert right the way back in 2012 for £87 million. I mean, you could literally make a website like this, perhaps in a slightly different niche, do exactly the same model and generate a significant amount of income just from affiliate marketing alone, and reviewing some of the products and services that are out there. But that's not the final piece of income that I generate just off this YouTube channel. So let's discuss what that next income stream is next. The advertising revenue, or ad revenue, is the money that I receive from those pesky ads that you have to skip at the start of every video. Now, as a creator, in order to be accepted onto the YouTube Partnership Program, you need 4,000 hours of watch time and 1,000 subscribers, which took me about 6 months or so to achieve once I first started out this channel. So yes, I worked completely for free for the first 6 months and pretty much didn't earn a penny. But once I hit that milestone, my ad revenue gradually grew over time. But it is without doubt one of the most active parts of my income. Each video can take me probably about 20 hours or so to make, so that does take up a big chunk of my working week. Now, the way the money works in practice is through something called a CPM and an RPM, which is basically the revenue that you receive per 1,000 views. Let me share with you a recent example just to be fully transparent. So in this video, which is why everything changes after saving £8,121, the CPM, which is the amount advertisers are prepared to pay to advertise on that video, was £21.48. And the RPM, which is what I receive after Google or YouTube takes its 55% cut, was £9.18, meaning that I made £1,374 off this video from ad revenue from about 150,000 views. Now, I don't want to cherry pick here because that was one of my better performing videos in recent times, and actually not all videos get me 150,000 views. So another video that I made, which was a budgeting one, which has under 10,000 views, didn't perform anywhere near as well, and it only made me £108 in ad revenue. So it all just depends on the amount of views that you can generate. The more views, the more ad revenue you'll be paid. And also, depending on what niche you're in, will also depend on the amount that advertisers are prepared to pay too. So here are a list of the top 10 profitable YouTube niches, which I found out on ChatGPT. Fundamentally, YouTube and the income that I've been able to generate from it has been truly life-changing. It's allowed me to quit my job in order to make content that I'm passionate about. So if it's something that you've thought about, then just throw yourself in and start to pursue it. After all, even if you don't make a single penny, at least you can say that you tried. One of the other income streams that you guys possibly don't know about is the client revenue that I generate from business consultancy that I do for a small business. This is certainly without doubt my most active income stream, where I'm definitely trading my time for money. Sometimes it's as close as a 9 to 5 job that I'll ever get from a kind of time and scalability perspective. The work that I do is in a company in the construction industry where the remit itself and the consultancy that I offer is quite broad. But fundamentally, I support on a number of different strategic business objectives, along with also provide additional support in the realm of social media too. For me personally, it's actually an income stream that I really enjoy. It allows me to have a positive impact on a small business, and it allows me to transfer my knowledge that I have on social media to help another small business build their brand and also reach their potential. And look, for me now, running my own business, obviously all of the financial burden is on me and my ability to produce good content and still generate views and revenue and all that kind of stuff. Whereas for me to have this kind of extra bit of income on the side, if you like, just gives me that added sense of financial security if, I don't know, YouTube were to disappear tomorrow. So a small plug, if you do have a small business and you need some kind of strategic business consultancy or even some social media support, then be sure to reach out to me and we can jump on a call and I'll see if I can help you out in any way. The final piece of income that I have is my interest income, which is just a byproduct of saving money and having that money put in a savings account. I've mentioned the importance of having an emergency fund before on this channel, but it's just as important to make sure that that emergency fund is also generating you some interest too. And if it's tax-free interest because it's in a cash ISA account, then that's even better. I've got a couple of different savings accounts if you like, but my best paying savings account right now is the Trading 212 Cash ISA, which is paying a 4.9% AER. The interest is paid daily, but obviously compounds on an annual basis. So say you've got £1,000 in savings at 4.9%. You'll get roughly about £49 in the year of interest. The interest is just an added bonus for having some savings to top those savings up even more. And because the Bank of England base rate is fairly high right now, or at least high in comparison to the past decade or so, it's actually quite a good time to be a saver. And at least now you can get a little bit of interest on your savings, unlike a few years ago where you got absolutely diddly squat. But apparently there's still roughly £253 billion sat in bank accounts that are paying no interest whatsoever. So don't be that person that's not earning any interest on their savings when you certainly could be. So they're my income streams, but I was only able to generate them from following a very strict 4-step system that means all of these income streams combined generate me in excess of £10,000 a month. So if you want to know exactly what that process is and how I went about growing these income streams, then be sure to click on this video next, subscribe to the channel whilst you're over here. With that being said, I'll see you over in the next one.